Hi, this is Ms. Chalvi. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to discuss about the higher studies, especially the post-graduation studies here in Canada. So, did you know that Canada is the top choice for international students? More than 600,000 plus international students come to Canada every year. Canada stands third in highest number of international students after US and Australia. Of course, US is more than 1 million and Australia is 700,000 international students. And Canada is very close. 56% of the international students who come to Canada are from India and China, and 34% itself from India alone. So, what's the appeal for these international students to come to Canada? Canada's appeal to international students is like high quality education, multicultural society, and immigration opportunities. What makes Canada even more attractive is its competitive package for international students. They have the opportunity to work while studying, especially from like last year, November 2022 till this year, December 31st, 2023, students were allowed to work unlimited hours, no questions asked. Now, this might change, but I feel they will continue this because shortage of the young workforce. And after studies, students can obtain a post-graduation work permit for Canadian work experience. Once a student have a Canadian degree and a Canadian work experience, they get more points in the PR pool and they'll get selected easily. So if you are considering to study abroad, Canada should definitely be on your radar, especially if you wanted to immigrate and settle in a foreign country. It offers a world-class education, a diverse and inclusive society, and ample opportunities for future immigration as well. Okay, now you have decided that you wanted to come to Canada. What next? Lot of people gather so many wrong information or follow the wrong advice given by the immigration consultants. I'm not saying every immigration consultant give you a wrong advice. I'm just stating that it's better you know what should be done and then reach out to the consultants. So before we going into the step-by-step process, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. So let's begin. There are many private colleges, public colleges and universities in Canada. So if you choose a private college, you won't be eligible for pgwp, that is post-graduation work permit, but you would get a 1-year study permit or based on the course length. So better you choose a public college or universities alone. Please check if the selected college is in the DLI list, which is Designated Learning Institution DLI, before you proceed. I'll give the link of the list of DLI where you can check in the description below. So once you're done with the search and selection of college or university, search for what courses these university and colleges offer, course of your choice. Then it's the application fee and the application process. So application fee for these colleges vary. Few colleges have free and few charge like $100 to a few hundred depending on the college or the university and the degree you select. Especially for the post-graduation, there are 1-year course which is 2 semesters, which is 4 months each semester. So total of 8 months. So don't get confused if you will be eligible for PGWP, which you will. And there is a 2-year course which is like 16 months, 4 semesters. So on an average, fees for each semester is approximately 8,000 Canadian dollars. So both 1-year and 2-year courses are eligible for PGWP, which is postgraduate work permit. For 1-year course, you get 1 year work permit, and for 2 years course, you would get 3 years work permit. So you do proper research online and shortlist what you wanted to study, and please do this before you even approach a consultancy or an agent or anyone. No one will put the efforts as you will put on your own future. So different colleges have different criteria for selection, especially on the study gap. So you have to be aware of that. So what is the study gap? So you finished your graduation, let's say in 2020, and after your graduation, you're working. Now you're planning to do your postgrad in Canada and you have applied for the 2024 intake. That would be 4-year study gap. So that would be a 4-year study gap from 2020 to 2024. Few colleges will not except if the gap is more than 5 years. Few colleges will go maximum up to 7 years gap. So again, that depends on different colleges and their criteria for shortlisting the application. They want to maintain that because they want to have a cohort who is in the similar age bracket, and they are very particular in these things to enhance the learning experience as well. Importantly, when you or shortlisting your course and colleges, have at least 3 choices of courses and colleges to increase your probability of getting selected. Okay, now we have done all the shortlisting. You have selected 3 colleges, 3 courses. So what do you need for applying? English score. So to apply for these colleges, you can write a Duolingo is fine. Duolingo test is fine. It is easy, online self-protracted test you can take from your home as well. The score is enough to submit your application and to get the admission too. But you would surely need IELTS for your visa application. It is preferred to have at least 6.5 of total score overall in IELTS. But in some cases, they do accept even 5.5. But that's the bare minimum. But my recommendation would be to target at least 0.5 so that you would have better chances. So what all documents you need to apply for Canada student visa? Proof of acceptance, proof of identity, proof of financial support, a letter of explanation, an attestation of issuance of your Quebec acceptance certificate if you are applying for a college or university in Quebec province, a medical exam. Proof of acceptance. Your school must send you a letter of acceptance. Usually you would get an electronic copy of your acceptance letter. Submit that with your study permit application. Most of the colleges and universities have their own student portal for which you would be given access to, and you will find your acceptance letter there in your dashboard. If not, you would get an email. So check with your college as well. Now, proof of identity. When applying for your study permit, you and your each family member, if they are traveling with you, who comes with you to Canada, must have a valid passport or travel documents, of course, right? For online applicants, you can upload a copy of information page of your passport when you apply. Information page is the page with your photo ID in the passport with your address and the passport number. So if you are approved, you must send your original passport. So 2 recent passport size photos are required with your name and date of birth should be mentioned in the back of each photo. So that is compulsory. And proof of financial support. You must prove that you can support yourself while you are in Canada. You can prove your funds with a proof of a Canadian bank account in your name. If you have transferred money to Canada, you need to open a Canadian bank account. You can Google which bank offers the services, but usually many students who come to Canada use Scotiabank or the CIBC bank. So go to their website. To register for GIC account. You need a GIC certification as well. So provide the necessary identification and personal information. You will receive your account number and the payment instructions by email, or they would have a secure mail services where you will receive a link and a password in an email. So log into that. You will get an instruction letter on how to deposit funds to the GIC account which you are opening in Canada with the Canadian bank. So take that letter to your local bank and deposit funds into your GIC account as per the instructions. Usually this has to be transferred from your local bank account to the Canadian account only. That's the preferred method. So receive an investment balance confirmation from the Canadian bank by email or again by secure mail service. So you will receive a guaranteed investment certificate, which is the GIC from the Canadian bank. Then you need a proof of student education loan from your local bank. Then you need your bank statements for the past 4 months, a bank draft that can be converted to Canadian dollars. This is not compulsory, but better to have at least like $2,000 or $3,000, which shows that you have money to survive in Canada as soon as you land in Canada. And you also need proof that you paid your tuition and housing fees. You need to show the proof of paid fees for the first year. So there are multiple payment options. Second year fee, you don't have to worry about it now. You can come to Canada and then you can pay later. And a letter from the person or school giving you money if you are sponsored by someone who is here in Canada, or if you are getting a sponsorship from the university or college itself. So proof of funding paid from within Canada. If your uncle or brother or cousin, if somebody is paying you the fund, they need to show the proof that they have paid, and the university has to give a letter that they have received the funds as well. And for the proof of stay, you can either show that you have paid your first month and last month rent, or you can get a letter from the landlord, or if you're sharing a room with a friend, you can ask that friend to share the lease which he or she received from the landlord, and that's where you are going to stay. So like a letter of confirmation is required. So minimum funds needed to support yourself as a student, and if a family member who comes with you is like, as per the Canadian immigration, it's like $10,000 for you, and if you're bringing a family member, it's like $4,000 for the additional family member. Example, if you and two family members wants to come to a province other than Quebec for a year, you will need a living expenses of $10,000 for a student, and living expenses of $4,000 for the first family member, and $3,000 for the second family member. If your country uses foreign exchange control, you must prove that you will be allowed to export the funds for all of your expenses. So that's why this GIC is mandate for the students as part of the application, and this GIC pays out to you as soon as you land in Canada and you start your education. So from the second month, every month for a year, you would be getting a payout from the $10,000 GIC which you have invested. Then you need a letter of explanation. This letter helps the visa officer to understand you and your goals. It explains why you want to study in Canada, that, do you understand your responsibilities as a student. This is where a lot of students get rejected because they have a default template these consultants give them, and they just copy paste it, change the name. Don't do that. You need to mention clearly your intention. You need to mention what is your interest, what are your goals, why are you wanting to come to Canada to do your higher studies, what are you looking at. Maybe you want a better education, you want a better exposure, you want a learning experience. There are a lot of things where you can mention. So you need to mention your intention clearly. Please don't hide or mislead any information. Talk about your interest, why you wanted to study that particular course or that particular college. How is it relevant to your past education? And what's the reason you chose that college or university, and why Canada mostly, right? So most importantly, mention your ties back home as well, like a family member or properties, etc. Then comes the medical exam. You may need a medical exam if any of these situations apply to you. Plan to stay in Canada for more than 6 months. So the minimum post-graduation course is 1 year. So in this case, you would need a medical certificate. And as soon as you apply for the visa, you will get you will get the notification for the medical exam in your IRCC account itself. You would get a portal, so in that portal you would see the request. Usually it takes couple of weeks to a month depending on the processing time, but you don't have to wait for the request. You can get the medical exam even before you're applying. They will give you an e-form that will have an IMM number. You can submit your visa application along with that number. Once all this process is done, you will get an application confirmation letter. Then in a week or so, you will get the biometrics request. You can book an appointment in the local VFS office and give biometric. It will automatically be updated in your profile in a couple of days. And if there is a document missing, or if the immigration officer needs more clarification, you will be notified to submit your the missing documents. Don't panic. If you get such a request, it is quite common, and now you have to wait patiently for the decision. Once the decision is made, you will be asked to submit your passport. You will get an email with the details for payment and pickup schedule. But before even you start the application process, please remember this: you have at least 3 years of work experience before you apply for post-graduation in Canada. I will tell you why it is important and what are the advantages in the following video. Until then, take care and stay inspired. See you in the next video.